Now shut up. The show's starting.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to a fabulous That's Entertainment! That's me, your hostess, and boy, do we have a fun show lined up today. No, I'm so excited. I've been trying to get this interview for almost a year now, and I finally had to invite the little booger over to my house for dinner and make him commit to a damn interview. And guess what? He did. I am so excited with my guest today. Okay, you know him as an actor, a television star, a movie star, a performer. He's a charity fundraiser, a lecturer. He's a director. He does everything. But most of all, he's the fabulous, the incredible. Please welcome to the show, my friend, Wesley Euerre. Woo!
Hey, Esther.
I hope that wasn't too much. I forgot to do the applause. I always do that. And it makes me so upset when I.
Sure. Make me lose my applause. I know.
There it is. Everybody, there he is. The man, the dude, the one. I'm telling you. Oh, okay. And they're coming in. Here they go. People start popping in, and I can watch over here on the side. There's a bunch of numbers that come up, and I'm telling you. How are you? You just finished almost 2 weeks here in Las Vegas.
Yeah, we were Kathy, who played Holly on Land of the Lost. We were signing autographs at the Star Trek convention because our show was written by the Star Trek writers, and we're the only show that the Star Trek convention allows other than Star Trek. So David Gerald, who wrote Trouble with Tribbles, was our head writer, and Walter Koenig, the original Chekhov, created Enoch, the talking Sleestak here. So yeah.
Now, you have all kinds. Now, what is? Okay, there's the Sleestak.
Props. I got props. I got dolls from my show I created, Dragon Tales on PBS. I'm a prop actor.
I know. I mean, you know, a lot of people don't realize is that you're like the little game show queen. You have done these fabulous shows that you've developed in Dragon Tales.
Dragon Tales ran 10 years on PBS.
That was on PBS. It was like one of the #1 shows, right?
It was. Around the World, animated for Sony Pictures and Children's Television Workshop.
Wow.
And these were like some of the here's Zach and Wheezy I created, the talking two-headed dragon. And, listen, it was such an honor to be a part of something for PBS. I must say that.
So tell me something. What is it like to have, you've been around. You've had an we've had an incredible
coming from you, Esther. That means a lot because you and I have known each other since forever. I mean, just for the start of our careers.
1979.
Wow.
1979. Oh my God. We had like the same acting coach for a while.
Yes. And you told everybody that you had to bribe me by having dinner. You made dinner the other night at your fabulous apartment, 30 floors up overlooking Vegas. But I almost didn't come because you forgot the salads. You left them in the refrigerator.
It's okay. You left the iced tea. So I've been hooked on this new iced tea that you and your friend left here. And I'm like, it's really good. I'd never had that iced tea before. And I started drinking it like crazy. It's unbelievable. But no, we actually, I still remember there was God rest his soul, Michael Verona. It was the acting coach. Loved him to death. And some of this. I mean, there were people will not believe this. In our acting group of people, there was like you, Chris McDonald, Sam Jones. Yep. So many people. Tara Buckman. I still remember one of them.
Yeah, Sam Jones, Flash Gordon. I do these autograph shows. The other day, I hadn't seen Sam for years. He used to come to my house. I used to have a little horse ranch, and Sam would come with Michael. And so fade in, fade out, Sam became this huge movie star with Flash Gordon and stuff like that. And I'm signing autographs in some town, Sacramento.
Right.
And I'm put right next to Sam. And I go up to Sam and said, "Hey, Sam." He goes, "Wesley, oh my God, I haven't seen you in like decades and stuff." I said, You remember a girl named Kathy? You broke my guest bed with Kathy one night. Oh my God! I forgot about that. He was like,
"Okay, I remember." Okay, so Michael Verona was a character. He was one of the craziest but great acting coaches. He was very physical. He would slap you upside the head and tell you to do this scene. I remember. Okay, speaking of Sam Jones, this was right as Flash Gordon was coming out, and I had. because I was new in Hollywood in 79, 80 in that period, I was, still awed by certain people. But Michael had this, I don't know, he had the house there in like Studio City or something, but for some reason, somebody loaned him a house up in the Hollywood Hills at the top with a hot tub and all that kind of stuff. And I just remembered it was my first hot tub party acting class turned into a hot tub party. And I didn't realize everybody was supposed to take their clothes off. And all of a sudden, Sam Jones, butt ass naked. Trust me, it was the flash that went across the San Fernando Valley. I just couldn't stop looking at his, you know what. I just kept going, what? And
Sam did a Playgirl. So if just Google it, you'll see it.
Oh, yeah, just see it. But there's nothing better than seeing it in real life. Talk about Land of the Lost. Okay,
I knew Michael because Michael was one of the best friends with Betty Corday. And Betty was the executive producer of Days of Our Lives, which I did for about a decade. Right. And like Mike Horton. And so that's how I actually met Michael, because he was Betty's friend.
Fabulous. And hi, Barbara Rue. Barbara is a huge fan of yours, Richard Fuchs. Yeah, I always say fucks when I see that, but it's that Richard Fuchs. But for those of you that I know are going to be tuning in, there's a lot of people in the side over here. I can see all the folks, but they're not talking because I guess they're in awe of the Sleeve Stack. The fact that the Sleeve Stack's outfit matches my hair.
Listen, I got to tell you, I'm a huge fan. Your red carpet, all of your interviews and things you've done in your life, Esther. I mean, I think you were one of the most unique, fabulous creations ever, and it was truly an honor to be here. With or without the salad, it was truly an honor.
You're never gonna let me live that down. The next time I see you, I'm gonna show up with a damn salad spinner and go, here, bitch, have it. It's yours. I can see that happening now. But for those, one of the things that I'm not sure, I haven't seen a lot of your interviews because I don't like to watch other people's interviews, but I wanted to let people know, because I found this out at dinner when we were talking to each other and we were talking about our careers and where the hell we started. And I think, to me, it is fascinating that this little boy born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and where was the other place?
Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Asper, Missippi on him.
Crooked letter, dotted letter.
But I wish you would tell. I mean, everybody said hello. Everybody there. People are starting to pop in and start talking. Hello from Southern California. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Chris Monaco. And Wesley, sometimes I don't know if you can see the chat thing.
I can't on mine.
Oh, you can't? You must be an Apple. Is it a Mac?
It's a Mac.
Somebody goes, I'm just here to abuse you. Case in point, that's Frank Hagen. The carpet doesn't match the drapes. Shut up, Frank Hagen. But there's a children's show, sort of, kind of, maybe never was. Anyway, a bunch of people that you should be able to see. I thought you could be able to see the carpet. You're the first person that hasn't been able to. Everybody else sees them.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
It's okay. But anyway, I wanted everybody to know, because you told me this story and I was just fascinated how this little old boy from Mississippi, raised in Baton Rouge, raised in Mississippi, how the hell did you end up meeting Robert Goulet and starting your career off? That was okay.
When I was 5 years old, in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, my family, nobody's in entertainment. They were educators. I stood up and said, I'm going to be an actor. And they looked at me like I had landed from Pluto. And so, every opportunity I got as a kid in school and things, in community theater. But my mom got a job in Las Vegas in my senior year of high school. And we moved to Las Vegas because she was head of the drug abuse program for the state of Nevada.
Right.
And after school, I was selling artwork at the Desert Inn Hotel. And it was this cheesy artwork. It was Diaz. I remember this one painter. His name was Diaz. He was the most popular painter. And it was these thick flowers would arrive, this oil, thick, like daisies and stuff.
Right.
And they were so new. He had just painted them like an assembly line. They were still dripping wet. So, and people, they would win some money, come out and be drunk and buy a couple of paintings and go away.
Right.
But Robert Goulet's manager came into the gallery one day and said, we need a driver for Bob Robert Goulet and Carol Lawrence were doing a concert tour, and I Do, the musical on the East Coast at the Google Grove Circuit. And they said, we need a driver. I'm 17 years old. And they said, we want you to come with us. And I go, okay, I'll come. And so they flew me to New York. And I mean, I'm 17. I've never been to New York City. I mean, I've been to St. Louis, but I've never been to a city like New York.
Right.
We fly into New Jersey. The first thing I do is they give me a car. They said, you're driving Carol Lawrence, who at the time, West Side Story, Maria, big star.
Right.
They said, you're driving her to her dentist in New York City. I
This
go,
is the lady that did the cappuccino things.
exactly. I'm going, I have to drive Carol Lawrence to the dentist in New York City. So I'm terrified. Remember, there's no Google Maps back then.
Right.
I'm driving under the Lincoln Tunnel. I'm terrified. I get out, and there's New York, and there's all these trucks parked on the side.
Right.
And I get halfway through the very first intersection, and I see that the light is red. It's over on this side. I can't see the red light.
Right.
And I pull back, and there's a policeman. And he goes, roll down your window. And I'm like, oh, I'm 17. I got Carol Lawrence. He goes, young man, didn't you see the red light? I said, listen, from where I'm from, the red lights are in the middle of the road, and here it's over on the right-hand side, and there's a truck there. As soon as I saw it, I backed up, and he saw the dashboard. It said the Garden State Art Festival.
Right.
He looked in the back and goes, oh, hello, Miss Lawrence. Young man, be more careful. And I knew at that moment the power of celebrity.
Yes, it helps sometimes. It really does. So then, so you did this. Now, how did that?
We traveled for a year. I drove the mobile home. Robert would do 1 week at a place, and then I'd pack up the kids. They had 2 boys, and we'd all get in the Dodge Travco motorhome that said the Bob Goulet Show. And I'm driving. He would get drunk. He would sideswipe trucks. We broke down in Delaware once. I mean, it was a journey. And then I just didn't go back to college. I'd spent 1 year at UNLV, and I called home. My mother said, well, I figured you wouldn't come home. And I started auditioning and got very successful quickly. The American
now, if my memory serves me correct, little boy from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, is doing freaking Shakespeare. How the hell did that happen? How did that happen? Did you go to Juilliard's? Did you go to the American Academy?
I was terrible.
How did you go from cornbread to Hamlet? How did you go from cornbread to Hamlet? I want to know.
Oh, God, Esther, there was the thing about auditioning for this Shakespeare. I didn't know it was American Shakespeare Festival at Stratford, which was run by this Juilliard School of Music. I had no idea what it was. It was huge. And so I was working a temp job in New York for astrology. It was one of those computer astrology things where you send in $35. They sent you this thing. Right. They told your fortune. But it said you had to know 2 pieces of Shakespeare. I'd never studied Shakespeare. I went to the library, the New York Library with the Lions, and I learned 2 sonnets, and I auditioned, and I got the part of Ariel in The Tempest with Morris Kornofsky. Seda Thompson was there. It was all the Juilliard people. Right. And the first day at the Manhattan Club, oh gosh, I get on stage, and I got my script, and I'm playing, and I go, all hail, grave master, graves to hail. I come to answer thy beck and call, be it to fly, to swim, to dive into the fire. And they go, Wesley, not on our stage. No. I go, what's wrong? They go, your accent. I go, what accent? And they said they had Liz Smith, this big bull of a lady, was a linguist at Juilliard, and every day at Stratford, because Liz Smith, not the columnist.
Well, because she was a big bull dyke. You got me confused.
Yeah, I know. Well, she was this British lady. Anyway, she worked every day at Stratford. We were there we rehearsed a month in New York and then 9 months at Stratford, Connecticut. And every day, instead of going running and jumping, I had to go running, jumping, ghosts, hosts. And she got drunk. The best part, we were terrified of this woman.
Right.
And the last night, she got a little drunk at the Actors Pub up in the theater. And she came, she said, Wesley, darling, the most enjoyable experience I've had this entire season at Stratford has been to make you lose that wonderful accent. And that was...
Now, so then after that, after New York, you went to California, the sunny...
Well, I did West Side Story in Bucks County, and then, I went to LA, and then I had a nightclub act in Provincetown. Yeah, I was doing the guys from the Upstairs Downstairs in New York, Rod Warren and Jay Jeffries, wrote a comedy act for a girl and a guy. I auditioned. Again, I wasn't a singer or anything like that, but I auditioned. By the way, I asked him at Stratford, why did you hire me? And the head of Juilliard said, Wesley, you came into the audition, you blew the Shakespeare. You were terrible with the Shakespeare, but you made us laugh. And we said, you know what? We need to spend the summer with that guy.
Oh
That's how I got it. But the Provincetown thing was, I answered a call. They were looking for a guy and a girl to sing comedy songs.
Mm-hmm.
I auditioned with Rubber Ducky from Sesame Street. Rubber Ducky, you're the one, and I got the job.
My gosh! And so then you ended up you're in Los Angeles,
In LA?
and because Days of Our Lives came first, right?
It came first. Yeah, I got my first TV series in a week and a half after I moved to LA.
What was that?
It was called The Organic Vegetables, produced by the Monkees, guys that produced the Monkees. I was the lead singer, drummer of a band that worked for Kay Ballard in her restaurant, the Organic Vegetable Restaurant.
God bless.
And we started filming, and there was a writer's strike. It didn't go on the air. And then I started recording for Motown, a white boy band.
You were on a white boy band. Get out of here.
Yeah. You know how successful we are. You never heard of us.
A white boy band
White boy band from Motown, and then I auditioned for Days of Our Lives and I got it. So
look at that! Is that like a Jewish thing on top of your head there? What the hell is that?
That was my wedding with Margot on Days of Our Lives.
Was she Jewish, or you just decided to do the?
No, we were kind of. It was kind of a hippie thing.
Okay.
We were the young couple on Days of Our Lives, and I was becoming a doctor, and then of course I mean, when I first got on Days of Our Lives, a wagon fell on me and crushed me. Then I found out that my father wasn't my father. He was really my uncle, because my uncle had raped my mother years ago at the hospital. Then I had an affair with Trish, and then the mafia was after me. Then I couldn't get it up. I thought I was gay, but then my father's ex-lover, Linda, proved that I wasn't gay. And then I met Margot, and then she died of leukemia, and that was like the first week of the show. It was a soap opera. It was so much fun.
Is it? Let me ask you something. What's it like? What's it like memorizing lines for a soap opera every single day? Does it like all of a sudden you go into autopilot and memorizing, or
you do. Esther, when I first started, I was terrified. I'd get these scripts, and I'd be shaking because literally, you got the script for the next day. That day, you finished. But about 2 years into Days of Our Lives, I wouldn't even read the scripts till I got in the morning.
Really?
And I would open the script, and it was like you'd cross your fingers. Do I have 1 page of dialogue? And some days, literally, I had 30 pages, and I had to memorize it within an hour.
Oh my gosh!
And it's like a muscle, and I was able to do it. It was odd, and it was probably reckless of me. I should have put more effort into it. But I was filming, but I got Land of the Lost playing Will right after I got on Days. So for 2 years. I'm filming 2 series because they're both NBC. So NBC let me do all my scenes on Days of Our Lives in the morning. And that meant that all the cast of Days of Our Lives hated me for 3 years because I would go in, film all my stuff, and leave. And they were stuck for the rest of the day. And then I went over to the set of Land of the Lost. So in the morning, I'm crying that my girlfriend's leaving me. I'm having sexual problems and stuff like that. And in the afternoon, I'm running from dinosaurs going, run, Holly, run. There's a dinosaur. And that was my life.
Okay. All right, everybody. Here's what we're going to do right now. I am going to play the opening sequence of...
And that's me singing it, by the way.
Marshall, Will, and Holly on a routine expedition met the greatest earthquake ever known. High on the rapids, it struck their tiny raft and plunged them down 1,000 feet below to the land of the lost.
Okay, a question. I'm reading the credits, okay? I'm looking at the credits and I see Wesley. There's no Eure. Wesley Eure. But it just says starring Wesley. What were you trying to be like Cher? What the hell?
Just Jack. No, it was.
Wait, the Madonna? No, Madonna.
No, it was the Crofts were so cheap they couldn't afford 4 letters. at the end.
Why did you do? Why would you do nothing? I want to know.
Listen, and that was only for the first year of the 3 years. My manager at the time, I was recording for Motown. They thought, okay, Wesley, boy band. You know, this was the decision. It was the stupidest decision in the whole world. But that was me, Esther. That was me singing the theme song too to the show.
Get out of here!
Yeah.
Get out of here! Oh, look at this. Sarah goes, I love this upbeat guy. I wish I could have his energy all the time. Yeah. you just had a birthday.
I turned 70 years old.
Get the hell out of here! I wasn't even gonna mention that. I was just gonna say your annual 39th birthday.
I hate. I would normally lie. But I'll tell you, Facebook and Wikipedia and all that stuff has ruined an actor's ability to lie.
Oh, it's true. Even though I have 2 personas, and they still can't figure it out. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out how old.
Well, which one's older? Esther, which one of your personalities? Huh?
Esther's older. She just has better skin because of the filter and the makeup. Michael, on the other hand, hey, God bless him.
You look fabulous, by the way. And I love all the posters behind you and the Paul Lynde laying down.
Paul Lynde, that is actually from the Comedy Store on the marquee on Sunset Boulevard. It was a whole Paul Lynde thing that fit into the marquee. So it said the Paul Lynde Show. So I've been wanting to mount it, but I haven't done it yet.
Hey! Not this is a family show.
Oh, that's right. Look at that, Sarah. 70, no way. That's right. He's got a picture of Dorian Gray and his patio stairs. I just know it. But so when did all of a sudden the Land of the Lost just take off with this whole retro vintage thing?
Wow.
I mean, how long ago? I mean, it's always been around and people have always watched it, but I've been paying attention to it for the last 5 or 6 years. And it's like a second career. You're traveling everywhere. What's it like? What do you think started it?
It's gotten crazy. When Land of the Lost was on, it became NBC's #1 TV show, and not Saturday morning, but their #1 show for a while, including primetime. And with all these conventions and stuff, I don't know what's happened. I think that I don't know if all the other people from the actors from the 60s and 70s have passed away and we're left, but it's like it's having this renaissance. So Will Ferrell did a movie called Land of the Lost, which I did a cameo with Will, and the girl played Holly, Kathy Coleman, and myself, got cut. But the movie tanked. It lost $200 million.
Like the
Sid and Marty Krofft have apologized. They said, okay, yeah, I know we blew it. But it has been picking up, and we do these conventions, and little kids now come dressed as us from Land of the Lost, and they can sing the theme song, and they know the episode. It's crazy. It's odd how a show it's almost 50 years. Land of the Lost was 1974, 5, and 6. I mean, that's 48 years or so, and it continues to build an audience. It's been remarkable, because who would have thought back then that this would be the defining moment of my life.
But well, you know what? Also, another defining moment, and I had not met you, and I had such a little girly crush on you. And I remember going to the theaters before I came to Hollywood, before Rosemary Clooney dragged my ass to L.A. And I remember going to the theaters, and you were in this movie, and with Valerie Bertinelli, called Chomps.
Brian, where's the new invention? I don't get it.
Watch this.
Brian, what are you doing?
There you are. 3 years of hard work.
A mechanical watchdog.
Computerized, self-activating mobile crime deterrent, unlike any watchdog that ever existed.
Here he comes, and there he goes. Chomps, the world's greatest watchdog.
What can a little dog like that do? Even if it's an electronic dog. He can detect a prowler or burglar anywhere within his own property.
A bite-sized, motorized, transistorized, computerized bundle of teeth.
Hey, hold it! Come on!
Valerie Bertinelli, star of the TV comedy One Day at a Time. Conrad Babe. High Guy Chuck McCann. Fred Button.
Sorry, ladies.
Hermione Baddeley. Wesley Eure. And Jim Backus, starring in Chums. Turn him on, and he goes for your funny bone. A Shaggy Dog story from Hanna-Barbera and American International.
Okay. That was so cool. I mean, all right, I gotta ask, what a crazy cast. Red Buttons, Chuck McCann, Hermione Baddeley,
Jim Backus.
oh my gosh, Jim.
And the guy on the ladder, that was Joey Bishop's son.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
So that movie I swear to God, that was the first time I ever saw you. And I thought, I'm crazy.
You know what was fun is I got to give. First of all, I had a huge crush on Valerie, and we used to hang out together, like Mackenzie Phillips, Valerie. Oh my God, Annie Lockhart, June Lockhart's daughter, and
Right.
Linda Blair. I mean, there was a whole group of us. But I got to give her first screen kiss, and it was amazing. My funniest story was I had another movie coming out that I was starring in at the same time, and it was a horror movie,
Right.
called The Toolbox Murders, where I kill everybody. And so it came out approximately the same time. So I took some friends. I said, hey, let's go see my new movie. And it was already playing. It was Toolbox Murders. And it was already playing on Hollywood Boulevard, one of those cheesy, sleazy movie actors.
Right.
So it's a rainy day in Los Angeles. Everybody's got coats on. We go, and the movie starts, Toolbox Murders, and it opens with this slashers, and it's violent and all that stuff. And I look down the aisle, and all my friends have taken their jackets, and they're cowering. They're not looking at the screen. And Lisa, this girl I was living with at the time, she turns to me and says, Wesley, I thought this was the Disney movie. And they all thought they were seeing Chops, the Hanna-Barbera movie. And this was like gore and violence. And
Well, you became, look at this. You became such a little sex symbol. Look at you. Hold on, look at this one. Look at you. Look at this. This is like out of 16 Spec. Remember that? Oh, look at it. I love what were you, go back in time. What were you thinking when the camera snapped? I want a sandwich.
that first picture was from a Chippendales calendar I did. It was called Soap Studs.
Soap Studs?
I was the month of May.
Oh my gosh. And then of course the iconic, I mean, this is from Land of the Lost.
Yeah, that was a photo from 16 magazine. They came on the set and filmed it.
And you said, look longingly at the sleeve stack. And you did. It was so much fun going through, all the pictures and seeing these. Now, I did not know this other thing. Somebody just wrote, I've actually seen Toolbox Murders.
Well, you know what? It was the #1 drive-in box office hit. Drive-in back in '78. And Stephen King once did an article. He's the famous horror writer, and he said they asked Stephen if for Halloween, what are the 10 movies you would rent to watch? And Toolbox Murders was one of them.
Get out of here. Now, there's another thing that I noticed too, that you were talking about performing and singing. And I found this on the internet this morning, and I said, I got to put this up. No. I got to put this up there. But, okay.
You scare me sometimes, Esther.
Well, only because you opened for a convicted felon. But I just thought I would put this up there.
Oh, my God.
Were you his little pudding pop? I'm just trying to figure this whole thing out. Bill Cosby and Wesley Eure at Harrah's Lake Tahoe.
You know what?
That, were you? You weren't expecting that, were you?
Yeah, I was not expecting that. I think oh God.
Everybody, Leslie
it breaks my heart.
Is speechless. Lesley Eure is speechless for just 5 seconds. Go ahead.
No, so opening night at Harrah's, I had, as you saw, I had equal billing with Cosby. And I had never done a nightclub act in my life. Not one. Not a small club.
Right.
Nothing. And I'm opening, I have 5 girl dancers and singers, and we have 47 costume changes in the 45 minutes we were doing.
You were like,
And
Cher.
Huh? Like, yeah, well, that Wesley. No, Wesley. But so what happened was I had never met Bill Cosby before.
Mhm.
And I'm terrified. I've never done this. We're sold out, 3,000 people.
Right.
I'm getting paid a buttload of money.
Right.
And they call 15 minutes and my girls go, they flew in. The girls flew in on the set with a 23-piece orchestra.
Wow.
And I'm all by myself in my rhinestone tuxedo. It was the 80s.
I know.
Total rhinestone tuxedo. And I go knock on Bill Cosby's door. I've never met him. And I'm terrified. And he opens the door. He's got his cigar, his jogging suit, you know.
And a woman.
And I said, I go, well, hello, Mr. Cosby. I'm Wesley Eurer. He goes, I know who you are. Come on in. So I go in, and he sits down on his chair. Now, remember, I'm in my rhinestone tuxedo. I get on my knees. I grab his legs, and I look up at him. I'm on the floor going, I'm so scared.
And there you are looking like a white pimp in Weinstein.
I know. He starts to laugh.
Uh-huh.
He said, look, the guys have seen your act. They know you're terrific. And he said, let me tell you something. When I did I Spy, he said, I was a comic. I didn't do TV.
Right.
And Robert Culp took me aside, and he showed me, like a light would blow up on the set, and I get terrified. He would explain it to me. He said, I'm gonna walk you through this. I'll take care of you.
Mm-hmm. And
every night he watched my act and gave me notes. And so at the end, when I finished my, I finished my applause.
Right.
And then they go, ladies and gentlemen, Harris is proud to present Mr. Bill Cosby. 23-piece orchestra, puffing away. He drags his stool on stage with his, jogging suit and the cigar. And he calls us back. He had never had an opening act come back. He goes, and now, ladies and gentlemen, Wesley's daughters. And my girls would come out. And they take a bow. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Wesley Eurer. Now, the audience is applauding, right? They're screaming and doing what they're going to do. I'm on stage with Cosby. He drops his microphone. He looks at me and says, so how did it go tonight? Just as if we're alone in a room. I go, Bill, I did what you said. That line you told me to, I did. He goes, I know. I was watching. Ladies and gentlemen, Wesley Eurer. So,
wow.
when all of this happened with Cosby, and we found out his history.
Right.
He never had the greatest reputation to begin with. People would warn me about being difficult to work with.
Right.
But it broke my heart because he had taken such good care of me. But he turned out to be a jerk. He turned out to be a horrible, horrible man.
Right.
And it's hard, it's hard sometimes
to erase
it's such a disappointment and it's such a betrayal for everything. And so, but he was kind to me at that moment in time. And so I have fond memories, but I've lost my good feelings, obviously.
Understandable, but at least the good part was you got some good advice at the time when it was relevant.
He was terrific. So to me, but
so okay, everybody, listen. You have more, and you were like designed for C batteries, and someone shoved these up your ass. You have the most incredible energy. You have such a smile that's contagious, and people just love it. And I guess that's why you ended up becoming like Mr. Game Show. Person. What do you call it? Game show person. You weren't a contestant. I guess you were a contestant.
No, it's a celebrity.
You were a celebrity contestant, correct?
Yeah. Like password. I did a lot of passwords.
I did it, and you know what? I was going through some of the old clips of Password, and the one that I found today that I'm going to play is they beeped out a word. They beeped out a fucking word. And I've been looking, well, it's got to be on the internet. So nowhere could I find it. And I'm going to play this clip. Everybody, this is Wesley. He's with Elizabeth Montgomery. And they are doing Password with the wonderful, great, fabulous Alan Ludden. Now, I want you to see, the name. I want you to see the clue. Here we go.
It just makes me feel good. She just tries to make me feel good.
All right, now, Paul, your option.
I'll play.
Okay.
Balls.
How would you have felt if you'd missed it?
I would have felt very bad. Gotta tell you.
Okay, with your lowest possible voice, Wesley. Swingers, grass, and balls.
Golf course.
Is it a golf course? No, but it was logical. Good guess. All right. Toby has the option.
Okay. I was, I mean, just looking at I wanted to keep playing the clip because it was so much fun. What was the clue?
Testicles.
He said testicles and they bleeped that?
Remember, this was the 80s.
Oh,
You couldn't say things back then.
Oh my gosh.
And that's why my voice got very low.
Oh, look at this. Look who's on here right now. It just said two of my heroes. Scott Rubens, he has the biggest blog in all of Las Vegas with almost 100,000 people that tuned into his stuff. And he is one of your biggest fans, Scott. Wesley.
Thanks, Scott.
And he's watching. He actually wrote two things. He goes, I'm having a moment. He goes, okay, take a deep breath, Scott. It's fine. You need to have Wesley on your Vital Vegas blog. So I'm going to set that up for you because it's big, 100,000 people, and it goes all over the world. And Scott's just fabulous, and he's only happy if he's got a big old Captain Morgan cocktail. Oh, I know. Captain Morgan is his face. Oop, I'm having a moment. Oh, I'm sorry, I did that again. So you, yeah, it was the 70s, and you couldn't say test. No, that was the 80s. Was that the 80s?
80s. Well, you couldn't say in the 70s, 60s. Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't say testicles, and it was driving. And I was trying, and the quality was so bad that I couldn't read his lips. I'm usually reading lips, but I couldn't read it. And I'm like, what did he say?
There's one episode where, because I got to play a lot with Elizabeth Montgomery and with Betty White and Susan Richardson and oh my God, everybody. But there's one with Deborah Lee Scott who was on Angie, and she was like, she had an outfit and her boob falls out. And they have to blur it out, and you can see it. Yeah, you can Deborah Lee Scott password.
That's on the air, isn't it? That's on YouTube, isn't it?
It played. It was actually on Buzzer TV the other day.
Oh my gosh!
But I got to play Match Game back in the day, and all the game shows.
Oh my God! Yeah, because if you go online and go Wesley, your password, you'll see it. Match Game, you'll see it, and it's just so much fun to watch that. All right, Scott, you wanted to ask a question? Ask us. Come on, we're waiting. Of course, there's a delay with some of the people, but I just think to myself, wow, some of the stuff that you've done, especially you've done a lot of charity as well, and you've used your celebrity to help people. What were some of the charities that you've done?
Boy, we've raised a lot. I used to produce big fundraisers, especially in Palm Springs. 85 performers.
Where you live now, right? I can say that.
And in Puerto Vallarta half the year in Mexico.
Oh, what a difficult life you have.
Oh my God, I'm exhausted. It's terrible. And but we raise for AIDS, a lot for for AIDS assistance program, for battered women, for breast cancer. We've raised a lot of money to help a lot of people. But I'm so grateful. Listen, I'm a little kid from Mississippi. I mean, I look around sometime and go, how the hell did I get here? I mean, especially when I turned 70 a couple of days ago, you reflect upon your life on some of these big birthdays. Right. I looked around at where I live and what I have and, and what I still get to do and play. And it's hard to put into words. I mean, how grateful I am about what came my way. And I have never taken it for granted, not once. I get the privilege.
And I will tell everyone that you are one of the kindest, sweetest, nicest people. When I'm not dressed like this, and I'm Michael who talks like this, and I did the Paul Lynde show. You came to every single Paul Lynde show that was in Palm Springs, and that touched my heart so much, and it was just incredible. Hold on, here we go, Scott. I'm curious if there's any way to grasp the impact Land of the Lost had on people's lives. Wesley was like the brother I never had. Well, I have one, but he's boring. What do you have to say on that one?
Wow, it's amazing. And Scott, you're right. We have people come up to our table when we're signing autographs, and sometimes in tears. One guy came up to us and said, listen, I got to tell you, between the third season, going to the third season, in the show, our dad left because of money, and we had our uncle come in. And he said, my family was getting a divorce. I was losing my father. And he said, I couldn't handle it. He said, I was crying all the time. He's a little kid. He said, I didn't think I could get through it, but I saw that you lost your dad and your uncle came in and you survived. And it gave me the strength to know that I could get through this.
Aw, that is
You
incredible.
know, we had one young girl from Compton. She called and she came over and she's crying and she says, we couldn't play in Compton. It was too dangerous in the weekends, you know, after school. And we had to play Land of the Lost in the house under, you know, tables and things.
Right.
And the best, well, not the best, just a one that touched our Kathy, Holly, and my heart. Two blind people came up to us, and they were married, and they had become blind after Land of the Lost. Both of them. They met at a blind school.
Right. And
they said, one of the things we have in common is because we had sight back when we saw Land of the Lost.
Right.
And we talk about it, and they said, Kathy, can we touch your face? And they both felt Kathy's face, Kathy Coleman, Holly.
Oh my
God.
gosh.
Her hair still long and blonde, and they felt her face, and they started to cry and said, we remember you. And we have moments like this. I mean,
it was so funny. You really touched. Scott is a hard ass. He's a real hard ass. But for him to have he just said it. He goes, I'm tearing up, no joke. And then he just wrote, it was Batman and Land of the Lost, life altering. And, you know, and people are saying that out of sincerity, Wesley. They don't say it, you know, kiss your ass or whatever. But, you know, you realize 50 years later, how many lives you touch those. I'm just.
Well, you know what? The effects look hokey now, but if you go watch some of the shows, you can watch them for free on YouTube, a couple of them.
Right.
They were written by the top sci-fi writers of our generation. And the stories hold up. Time doorways and matrices and alternate universes and aliens and stuff. It never talked down to kids. It was written like a primetime show, but they made it for kids.
Right.
And we have a lot of people come to our table and talk to us and send messages that became scientists. Two of the heads of JPL, they were raised in Iraq. And they came to our table once and said, hey, we thought you spoke Farsi because we were dubbed into Farsi. And they invited Kathy and I to go to JPL, Jet Propulsion Lab in Pasadena, on a private tour. Wow. And they let us play with the joystick that drove the Mars rover.
Get out of here, for real.
In this room, it was this empty room with tons of computers. One person in that room, this huge room, bank of computers, and he was programming the Mars, what the rover was going to do the next day. And he said, hey, you want to play? He was a fan. He said, you want to play with the joystick? We go, yeah. Now, it did not move the Mars rover because what they did was they planned it and, you know, tested it on the computers. And then when they finished what they wanted to do for the next day, they sent it to Mars, which takes about 6 to 8 hours.
Right.
And so we didn't actually get to move it.
Right.
But we got to play with it. And he had a driver's license. He had the only Mars driver's license because this guy had driven every rover, every landing of Mars up until that point.
Wow. And Scott asked another question that I was going to ask, but he being a writer, he puts it the right way. Is it weird to be idolized for a show that aired so long ago? Is that surreal to you?
Good question, Scott. Yeah, you know, it is. You know, I didn't see myself back then. You know, you know, we all have our own self-image problems and things like that, you know, growing up. And I was doing all this stuff and magazines and stuff, and I just never saw myself as that. And now years later to sit at these tables and you know, to have this kind of accolade, which is, it's odd. I mean, come on. Yeah. Who would have thought 50 years later that people still would want to talk to me and ask me about the work that I did so long ago.
Invite you over to the house for dinner.
Hello. It got me a free meal at your place, 30 stories up. Thank you very much. Looking at the best view of Las Vegas.
Oh, no, seriously. It must be just, it's like you said, you go home at night and you just go, you must go, wow.
I remember, listen, the opening night
Go ahead.
Opening night Vegas. I had never, you know, I'd never done a nightclub act before. Mm-hmm. I get off stage. The audience is going crazy. I'm with Cosby. I'm all by myself because the girls are still getting out of their stuff. And I go in my dressing room, and as I'm walking down the back hallway, the head of Harrah's is there. He's going like, "You went 5 minutes over," because in Vegas that meant money, gambling money, and he was pissed.
Right.
And I go in my shower. I jumped into the shower and I sat in the shower sobbing. I was sobbing, sitting on the bottom in the star dressing room, not so it's Star, but Ed Cosby.
Right.
But I was sitting in the dress, thinking, how did I get here? What did I just do? I mean, when you put yourself out there, without any experience, but those emotions, those.
I know it's hard.
Thinking the hot water going down. I'm sitting naked, on the floor of the shower, crying and thinking and shaking, like, what just happened?
Yeah, no, shows are fined for running too long. They are. They get really pissy. I was at Bally's and I had this little French guy. I used to call him Topo Gigio. He's this little mentalist. And we were doing the Paul Lynde show, and he would stand there in the back doing this. I'm like, oh, motherfucker, get over it. I'm finishing my show here. I went 2 minutes over. But he was the next act because they had 4 shows. They had Wayne Newton, this Bally's, this little mentalist, me, the Bronx Wanderers. But I, as Paul Lynde, I would go, Topo Gigio's in the back, busting a
Gotta tell you, that show, the Paul Lynde show, oh my God. I took friends kept taking friends to see it. It was extraordinary. It literally, it was extraordinary. And of course, I know Peter Marshall and some of the folks that
we're all friends.
People
don't realize we have the same group of friends. Literally, we have this group of friends. Oh, here he goes. Hold on. What is this? Has there ever been discussions about a reunion show? What did you think of the movie?
The movie was an Abbott and Costello. It was Land of the Lost was about a family, a dark drama, and it was Will Ferrell. We turned it into Abbott and Costello basically.
Well,
and
the Bewitched too, if you remember.
The head of Universal quit over it. They lost. Listen to this: $200 million, $100 million in production they lost, and $100 million in advertising. It was crazy. And I just did a show with Marty Croft and the other day for Susan.
You were on his show.
Well, Susan Anton has a new show, and we were guests on her first show. And Marty says, yeah, we want to do a new Land of the Lost. And David Gerald, who is our head writer, who wrote Trouble Tribbles for Star Trek, he just announced a new novel is coming out for Land of the Lost. And it's based on the original show, because he wrote the original show.
Right.
And the premise real quickly is just that we had a little baby brother that wasn't on the raft with us when we went over the waterfall. Right. And he's now 40 years later with 2 daughters, and he comes to find us.
Wow. Maybe you could, how do I say this? Maybe you could be the grandpa.
Well, it's even better than that. Esther, he said that I'm actually gone crazy. I live in a cave and I'm nuts.
Okay, that's like your place in Portobello.
I like that. It resonates.
Oh my God, that is so it's something that's being discussed.
It is, and it came out, and there was a version that lasted only a year. Timothy Bottoms in the '90s, and
oh my God,
they keep wanting to bringing it back. It was the Crofts' #1 show. It's the only show that ever ran 3 years.
So Sid and Marty own the rights, right?
Yeah, and Kathy and I, when we were in Vegas, we did a live show with Sid Croft,
right?
A podcast with Sid's podcast the other day, and he, there's so much interest in it. It's first of all, it was a good sci-fi. It was a real story, and it holds up because it was about a family that lost their mother. They were bonded together in this extreme environment, and then with all the sci-fi elements,
Right.
My favorite thing, though, is Walter Koenig. If you're Star Trek fans, you know him as Chekhov in the original Star Trek. He created, I said, Enoch again. So it came on in the 2nd or 3rd episode. So we're at Star Trek convention, and he'll come by our table. He's got his hat on and he's shuffling around. And he goes, "Those damn Sid and Marty Crofts! I should have gotten residuals for Enoch. I should have gotten residuals."
Yeah, those residuals come trickling in. 1 penny. 6
cents. It wasn't even. Listen, when we did the first year of Land of the Lost, first and second, it wasn't even union back then. Saturday morning didn't even have Screen Actors Guild or AFTRA back then.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh, Wesley, this has been a blast. This has been so much fun. I am so glad you took the time out to come on and play with me.
It's because your pasta was good, Esther.
Hold on, one more question. Scott Robin is just he's on a tear. What, he created Slee Stacks?
The Slee Stacks were created by David Gerald, the green ones. But Walker wrote the first episode called Enoch, which introduced Enoch.
And someone just said, I'm jealous you met Chris Atkins. I had the biggest crush on him growing up. You
Oh
know?
my God! We just did a show in Connecticut with Chris, and you know what? Sometimes you just click with somebody, you meet them, you know, and because anyway, he is one of the most terrific guys I have met in a long time.
And he still looks sexy as hell. I just remember him.
Yeah, you go to my. I put a picture on my Facebook if you guys go to it. But
he's forever burnt in my brain cells, sitting on that rock in Blue Lagoon, going waka waka waka. I will never forget that. My darling, thank you so much for popping in today. You have just made my day, and a lot of people. I hope if you didn't catch it live, you're going to watch it later on YouTube. And there's all the information you need on the YouTube channel to get a hold of Wesley, to sign up for his TikTok. That TikTok, you got 200 and some odd thousand hits the other day.
It was for a 7-second video I did with Kathy. I just joined TikTok like 4 days ago. It was it's odd.
And who told you to go to TikTok?
You did. You've been begging me to do this, and you know what? I followed your advice.
And it's great, and because I'm just looking at people here going, great show, love, love, love. But you are a legend, and you are iconic to so many people. And just like, I didn't expect to have tears or feel that type of emotion today, but the blind people, Scott, and the people that you touch, it made it all worth it. Thank you, my love. Ladies and gentlemen, probably one of the most incredible friends a person could have, Mr. Wesley Euerre. Thank you, lovey.
Bye, darling.
Hang on. We'll talk for a second after we sign off. This is Ester Goldberg. Until next time, whoever the hell I can invite to dinner and bring on my show. Woo!